Hey, good evening, Augusta Nation. So we're about to wrap up, head on home. Hope everybody's day went well. Here in Augusta, Georgia, we've had rain every single day, but we are fully staffed, so I don't believe there'll be any issues. But I want to go over today, I think I mentioned in a video this week about our new assessment and what we do to try to increase success for bringing in new team members is that we've outlined 10 core technical skills that we believe is essential for lawn care maintenance, as far as the mowing, the trimming, debris collection, and things of that nature. We've described them in a short, concise way, as far as how we like things done, as far as our line trimming or weed eating. Some people would say, we line trim the perimeter, we like it flush, 90, straight across, same as the mower would cut it, and some success indicators we'll put on each skill so that the new team member knows, okay, this is what they're looking for. These are signs that I'm doing well, as far as like not missing anything and not scalping the grass with the line trimmer, things of that nature. So we just got it rolled out, explained it to everybody in a meeting, and I've been helping some of our more experienced team members do their assessments for newer team members and even some folks that have been here for a month or so. So we're going through that process, making sure training in all aspects as far as how to do the assessment and then how important the assessment is to us because it is how we do actual training here in Augusta is we don't have dedicated trainers that go out with the team. When a new team member comes aboard, they get put with an experienced team member, and that is basically on the job training. And so it has a large impact on our experienced team members, the people that we trust that know the standards of Augusta. It has a pretty large impact on their ability to make as much money as they typically would, either by themselves or with another experienced team member. So we're trying our best to develop a system that onboards new team members in a matter of 2 to 4 weeks so that their production will be to where our standard is. So in our team, as far as solo goes, when they go out, they're used to being able to complete, up to 12, 13 budgeted hours for our highest performers. I would say an average of 8 to 10 budgeted hours in 8 to 10 actual hours on the clock. So they're used to being able to go out solo, make anywhere from 190 to $250 by themselves. So when they bring on a new team member, it's super important that production is one of the aspects that we assess for. So try to make it super simple. We got 10 technical skills and 5, attitude based. Whether if they take positive criticism well, their stamina, if they have a positive attitude, that type of thing as well. And I'll show you all the criteria, but I want to show you how we made it a whole lot simpler. We used to have a system where we would rate 1 to 10 based upon how their line trimming was, how their push mowing and all that. It was real complicated, and I don't think it really helped out anybody. So we did 3 different categories. So you're either not productive, which will cause production and or quality to fall below our Augusta standards. As far as production goes, we would call it not productive if the 2-person team can't do at least 12 budgeted hours. That's like bare minimum introductory level. If they can't get that done, they can do that by themselves. So needs improvement, just needs minor tweaks, maybe a technique or you work on speed, things like that. And then productive, which just meets Augusta standards for production and quality. We can get them going on the solo route, or they will allow for a 2-person team to meet production standards and quality. So made it real simple, and it's basically a 2-week process, 2 to 4 week process, whether we will decide if the new team member is going to be a good fit or if it's just not going to work out. So I think it really helped out a lot. I'm really enjoying it, so I wanted to show y'all. And the document I can make available if anybody would like to adopt it. You can kind of edit it to meet your specific needs. But now I'll show you our standards and the actual sheet. So let me switch this camera around a little bit and show you the actual document. We'll zoom in a little bit. And so this is just the technical skills assessment criteria. This is the description. So whenever a new hire, they come in for the in-person interview, this is something that we go over, and I will give to them to look over the night before they actually go out for their first tryout day. Where they go out on the truck after an in-person interview, where I ask about 10 to 20 questions about getting their references, their experience level, asking them a little bit about themselves, what kind of goals they have, and just some personality type questions as far as how you do working as a team, how you do taking positive criticism. And then I introduce them to Augusta, our values, our what we're doing as far as growth, and just a little bit of how we operate. And so before they go out on the truck with their experienced team member, their trainer, they will have read all of this. They will know what Augusta's about and what is acceptable and not acceptable. I apologize. I think my gizmo is a little crooked, but that's okay. And so on our trainers, what we do for them, we do pay for performance. So, they're not really on a clock per se, but what we do is we give them $4. So if they go out and they complete 15 budgeted hours as a group with their new trainee, they will get an additional $4 per budgeted hour, so $60 for the day for their training. So it gives them an incentive to do it. Plus, they really want to get this person up to speed so they can either get off their truck and get back to a solo route, or they'll be a productive member. And so I'll just go over some of the technical skills that we find important. And I know it sounds basic, especially if you're a solo operator, or if you're just been used to doing the work. You've gotten so good at it, it's got muscle memory, you really think it's super basic. But when you go to try to teach it to somebody, I found a lot of times you want to just show them. So you'll take the weed eater and this is how you do it. But what they really need is a fundamental description of what we're looking for, and so that it can be referenced, especially for our new team members that are not used to training people. They can just go to this as a guide and say, hey, we're looking for instance, for line trimming. The goal here is to trim flush with the mowed grass. Do not trim at an angle or lower than the finished cut of a mower. We line trim around the perimeter of the property, including crackweeds in the driveway, sidewalk, roadside. And then it gives you some indicators of success. This is good for the person that is learning, the team member that's learning. Also good for the assessing team member, so they know what to look for. You're able to perform trimming tasks before mowing is complete, and that's on most properties, or about the same time. That's fine too. And that's a production indicator. And then you don't miss any trimming. So that's huge, because if you have a beautifully mowed yard, the stripes are great, the deck height is perfect, there's no debris on top or clumping, the customer comes home, they're not really caring about that beautifully cut lawn if there is missed line trimming by their mailbox or their driveway. That's what they're looking at. So not missing anything is huge when you're weed eating. In my opinion, weed eating is the most important skill as far as mowing service is concerned. I think you will notice, if you do poor weed eating, a whole lot more than if you miss a little bit of, your mowing's not 100%. So, and also one of the skills of someone that's good with the line trimmer is they know what areas a mower is not able to cut, little dips, little holes, rocky areas, inclines, and they proactively trim these areas before the mower gets to them. And so edging, here at Augusta, at this location anyways, we do two types of edging. So for smooth concrete, driveways, curbs, sidewalks, patios, we use what was called the stick edger, the one with the blade. And then for beds and anything inside of the turf, like a water meter or a valve box or pavers, we will use the weed eater, the line trimmer, and we'll turn it upside down and we'll edge that. And so, we've got descriptions of what, all that process and success indicators, like straight lines, 90-degree angle, not causing a large gap in between beds and grass, things like that. And so, weeding here at Augusta, we have a service called bed weeding. When we mow, line trimming of beds or natural areas is not included. So somebody would have to have a bed weeding service to get a natural area line trimmed or their beds line trimmed. So weeding here, we've got a couple different techniques and a couple things that we do. Number one, we hand pull weeds that are inside the drip line near the base of plants. And we also hand pull large weeds that are 6 to 12 inches or larger in length. We knock down large groupings of smaller weeds in beds and natural areas, and then we spray. So we've got, success indicators with spraying and things to watch out for, not spraying plants, not drenching the beds so that if it rains, it leaches out into the grass, because we've had that happen recently, actually. I forget, I don't know who it was, but one of our team members doused some new beds that we mulched. It poured torrential downpour right afterwards, and we ended up having to resod, I think, about 2 pallets of grass. So that is super important that you know how to spray. We've got the blowing descriptions. All this is really basic stuff to folks that do it every day. But some of the most basic things when you're trying to train somebody or teach somebody, sometimes it's hard to find the words on the fly. So we use this, it's in the trucks with the assessing team members, and it really just makes it 100% concise. And it also, these descriptions help out with direct communication, because as I talked about earlier in the week, I have found that a lot of our team, they, number one, never had a leadership role. So they've never had to assess or critique another individual. And communication around that, as far as even if it is in a positive, constructive criticism type of way, you are ultimately judging and assessing another person that is doing their best to succeed. And it's more of it's a conflict type conversation. So sometimes it is difficult to find the words, and you're worried about hurting somebody's feelings or how you're going to come off. And some people just aren't comfortable doing that. So by giving them a description and exact concrete information of what we're looking for, it allows them to take the personal out of it and say, hey, here's my indicators. This is my job here my number one goal here is to make sure you're successful with us. And this is how we do things. As far as, I know it sounds simple, but with blowing, we blow off all hard surfaces and lawn areas when debris is noticeable on top of the lawn. We do not blow noticeable amounts of debris into beds, and you have to use a little bit of discretion. Some properties have natural areas, and you have to use good judgment when blowing debris into natural areas is acceptable when it's not. And then we also have some do nots. We do not blow debris into the street or neighboring properties. And it's really easy to do. You're sitting there blowing. Where are we going to put it? You're just going to go down the curb line, and a little bit went into Miss Smith's driveway. Whenever we're blowing the curb line in the street, we blow to a point and then walk around with our backs facing the neighbors and blow it back into our properties. So a little bit different way we handle things. We've got blowing should be quick. You should be moving your feet and moving the blower back and forth, and you should be able to do it pretty quickly. Let's scroll down here. Debris management, mowing. Mowing, it sounds so simple, but there are specific components that when done correctly, create the perfectly cut lawn. What you're looking for, proper deck height. And okay, well, what do you mean by that? We want to cut enough off to be noticeably cut, but not scalped. And we also want to make sure that you're using proper speed so that it's getting a nice even cut. There's no mohawks, and everything looks really good. And you want straight lines. So we use stand-on mowers here. So I've got push mowing standards and stand-on mowing standards. Stand-on mower, some of the issues you have to look out for is not damaging property, because that thing probably weighs about 600-700 pounds and will damage siding and all kinds of stuff. We've got different specifications for the shrub trimming, and then driving a truck and trailer. So I did the description kind of in order because we have a schedule. Our goal is to bring on folks, team members, and have a schedule of their assessment. So for instance, day 1 through 3, and the goal is to be able to fully assess somebody in 2 working weeks, so 10 days. And so we'll start them out with line trimming, edging, and blowing. And so days 1 through 3, the assessing team member will direct the new team member to line trim, edge, and blow. That'll be predominantly what they do. That'll be how they get assessed. Days 4 through 5 will be hand weeding and push mowing. And then 6 through 8, shrub trimming, debris collection. And then the last bit of it, stand-on mower, spraying of weeds, driving a truck and trailer. So that's the schedule. And then we also have, those are our technical skills, as far as knowing how to do the job, the skills that create success, and it is what we do. So, and then we have the soft skills, more as, things that you can't really describe as far as production or things like that, but are super important to the type of person we're looking for. Takes direction, constructive criticism well. Super important here because some of our guiding values are these below, and good is never good enough. So you'll always be kind of pushed and driven to get the best out of you. Positive attitude. Nobody wants to work with somebody that is a Debbie Downer, a negative Nancy, pessimistic Polly, however you want to call it. When you're doing physical labor and it's 100-something degrees, the AC might not be working in a 20-year-old truck, the last thing you want is somebody complaining all day. It takes your production down, takes your drive down, and at the end of the day, if whatever decreases production decreases money in your pocket. So you don't want that at all. It's not fun. Stays on task. So this can be, as soon as you get to a property, jumps out of the truck, gets ready, takes the direction and goes, gets done with one task, goes on to the other, or asks what is next on the list, not on the phone, and is just being helpful throughout the whole day. Stamina, it's hard work. This is not an easy job, and it takes a certain type of endurance to get through the day with great productive speed. All right, and then productive speed, somebody might have great technical skills, but not able to do it at a productive level. We're looking for, as far as per team member, we want to be able to get to 8 budgeted hours at a minimum. And, if you're only able to do 5, it's not going to work out for you, at least not right now. We will have some team members that have great personality, their work ethic's great, they're catching on, and either they don't have the skills quite yet or they're a little slow, and we'll say, hey, why don't you go get some experience, go work for another company, and if you really want to come back to Augusta, then come on. And we've actually had 2 team members do that and successfully get more experience, come back, and they've been great assets to the team. And then we've got our guiding values. So these are the values of our entire company. These are principles that we vow to uphold and protect, as well as how we make decisions to hire and fire team members. So during this evaluation process, there's another layer of, more character and, things that we know will deliver success for Augusta team members, and things that we expect and will not allow, things that go against our values. So what we do is we protect our values by identifying them and defending when we see behavior that goes against them. So any violations of any of our values will be brought to the attention of new team members, and can have a negative impact on possible employment. So some of our values for our culture, our company: extreme ownership, owning everything in our world, not allowing circumstance to dictate our outcome, and we feel that we are in control of our destiny. That's That's the inverse of feeling that the world is against you and you don't have control and things happen to you. And one of the examples I always give for our new team members is, there's a very common excuse for being late, and that is, I didn't charge my phone, my alarm didn't go off, I didn't hear it, and they put the blame directly on the device that, they control and that they rely on to wake them up. And so extreme ownership of that is, hey, I failed to set an adequate alarm, and, I should have, if I had a backup alarm, I would have been here. So it's just owning your world. And, sometimes it's extreme to others, but the trade-off is it's not a blame culture. It's just a responsibility thing. And so, and then the second one's team over self, because we know that we're not going to get to the goals and the growth goals that we want to get to on our own actions. We're going to rely on each other, and we're going to build an extreme team type atmosphere. And so that's individual victory nor discomfort is of greater importance than the mission, and the mission requires a unified team. Number 3, never-ending dedication. So this one's just to self-improvement. As good is never good enough. And this is not perfectionism. This is just a simple philosophy that everything can be improved upon, and you'll never reach, most likely will never reach your true potential. So you just must try every day to improve upon what you were yesterday. So this can encompass everything, spiritual, financial, physical, mental, and emotional capabilities. Confident humility, that's just knowing your value, at the same time acknowledging everyone has a value that we can learn from. It's, basically just not being a butthole. It's, whenever you are assessing somebody, doing it with grace and respect, and realizing that, everyone's been in the position of the person being assessed. And also, I try to anyways, embody the philosophy that everybody is most of the time trying their best. They're trying to do their best. And so the last one's doing the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do, especially when no one's watching. So that's integrity. That can be exhibited every single day, because you got, the ability to, when you're, either blowing the yard, you can just blow that debris somewhere where nobody's going to find it, which you're not supposed to do here at Augusta. You can damage a piece of a fence that nobody may notice, instead of doing the right thing and notifying the office and notifying the client. So those things that are super important to us. And then let's see here, let's scroll down to the actual assessment and how we do it. So I gave a little bit of an example. You'll have the new team member written down right here, and this is given to the trainer. You have the trainer's name, and then over here you'll just sign off and date, and it's done in order. So days 1 through 3, got the line trimmer, edger, and blower. Then we've got debris collection, hand weeding, push mowing, all the way down to driving the truck and trailer, the technical skills, and then the soft skills. And so what we would do is, if it needs improvement, we'll initial and date. Productive, initial and date, or not productive, initial and date. Any of them that are not productive, you'll go down to the additional notes, and you'll say line trimming, and you'll give constructive feedback so that the new team member can correct their actions and work on it. And when they sign and date, they are signing saying that they have assessed this person and they have communicated in a clear and direct manner of what needs improving and how to improve it. So got the line trimming, and we've got, I noticed several missed areas of trimming. Here's a tip: slow down, double check your area before leaving it so you do not miss any trimming. That's a big one. That happens a good bit with new team members. And the best thing that I've found is to do the double check. That way, it's okay to miss something the first time. Just, make sure that before you leave the property, you check it, and it won't be a big deal. And then here's was blowing. I think I put not productive. And this was, I noticed several instances of purposely blowing debris into the street when you thought I was not looking, and also into neighboring properties. And this is where you acknowledge some of our values. This type of behavior will not be tolerated and goes against Augusta values of doing the right thing. So you let somebody know what they're doing that is not going to be a good fit with the company, and it's up to them now. The action is up to them to prove, if they want to, that they can correct their mistake and become a part of the team. Because at the end of the day, we do all this because we want the team member. They come in, they either fill out an application on Facebook or directly on our website. We give them a call. We do a preliminary phone, just going to get a little bit about your experience. We set a date and a time for an in-person interview. We spend 15 to 30 minutes with that person, letting them know what Augusta is about, getting information from them, getting references. And then we've got a 2 to 4 week training process. So it's a lot of time, a lot of money invested. And at the end of the day, we want a team member that's going to embody our values, have good technical skills, and be able to be successful and put money in their own pocket and put money in Augusta's pocket. So I hope this was helpful, and I will make accessible this document to anybody that wants it. I can, if you message with your email, I can send it to you. And also just, comment on here if you have a certain system, what's been working, or if you've been struggling to come up with a system, or if you're just, as far as if you're pretty new to even having employees, because I can remember trying to teach someone to line trim was one of the most difficult things I had ever done. I thought it was super basic, but a lot of people miss some of the great concepts. But what time is it? I am super late from being home. I usually like to be home at 7, and I've got about a 15-minute drive. So I'm going to go home and play with my 3-year-old, kiss my baby and my wife, and hang out with them before we go to bed. Usually 9 o'clock is our bedtime. And just a little recap. I did get to the gym today. I ate clean, and hopefully I can stay away from any Oreos or ice cream booby traps when I get home. And so this is week 4 back in the gym, something that's super important to me. And now I'm going to go home, play with my kids, and give my wife a big old kiss. And it's really been a great week. And I appreciate everyone that takes their time to listen, comment. And until tomorrow, have a great night, and we will see you soon.